This episode of The Edge is brought to you by Audible.com, offering more than 180,000 titles for smartphone, tablet, and desktop. To get a free audiobook of your choice and help Trek.fm at the same time, visit audibletrial.com/trekfm. And also by Enterprise in Space, an international program of the nonprofit National Space Society. Find out how you can help science and education and become a virtual crew member aboard the NSS Enterprise Orbiter by visiting enterpriseinspace.org. And if you want to join the conversation and share your thoughts on this episode, join the Babel Conference, our listeners group on Facebook. Just type BABEL into the Facebook search field. We look forward to seeing you there.
You're listening to Trek FM.
What have you done out there on the edge of Federation space?
We did it. We're live again. You know, I think it's funny how every time we do this show, we act surprised when we go live.
Well,
like, it worked.
There are times maybe it wouldn't work. I mean, we have to be happy that everything's functioning like it's supposed to be.
Yes, and I know I'm functioning the way I'm supposed to be. So if my doctor's listening, everything is good right now. So everyone, I want to introduce myself. I'm Bruce Gibson. Welcome to Live from the Edge. We're going to talk about the second season premiere of Star Trek Discovery. Episode title is Brother. And with me, of course, as she always is, and you heard her earlier, Brandi Jackola. How you doing, Brandi?
I'm so excited to be here. I'm wobbling my computer. You all probably saw that. I'm so sorry. That's so unprofessional.
It's quite fine. We're all unprofessionals here.
Okay.
So, and we have our special guest here from the Trek FM network from the show Earl Grey, and he makes appearances on other Trek FM shows. We have Justin Ozer. Justin!
Hey, great to be here. Man, it's been 11 months since I've done this with you guys, so super excited to be here. And for the premiere episode, I'm just honored that you guys would have me here for it.
We're glad to have you here. So now, you said 11 months. Did you go back to your calendar and count the months?
Well, you know, I went back to our shared spreadsheet that has the schedule for Live from the Edge, and it was February 6th, I think it was. So 11 months, 12 days to be precise.
Very logical.
Yes, and more precise than Sarek. Anyway.
Well, now that we've had our gibbers on the beach, I think we can go right into this episode and talk about Brother, the second season premiere of Discovery. And we want to welcome everyone in the chat. Here, as we're doing this live Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. We have our YouTube live not chat, because there are chaps in there, but it's our chat. It's our chat in YouTube joining us. And so, anybody give us your opinions, anything you want to talk about, your questions you want to ask us, what we think of the episode.
Brandi's husband, Dave, wants to start a drinking game, apparently.
Yeah, Dave doesn't drink. That's the fun part.
He drinks water.
He drinks Mountain Dew a lot. So get your drink of choice.
Yeah, he was. I think it's because he was noticing my Discovery poster over my, right, left shoulder, depending on your perspective. But I just put that up today because I'd had my Beyond poster for a couple of years, but it was time to change it out.
I was going to ask you about that. I thought the poster was changed out. I was like, I don't remember it being that one.
It's different, for sure.
Yeah. And I've got my Discovery poster up, so that's good. Brandi?
There's my Tilly photos up there.
Okay. Good. That counts for sure. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, where am I going to put a poster, guys?
You
I don't have
pictures
room
like
for posters.
all over the place on your
I know.
wall there.
That's the thing. It's all covered. Where am I going to put a poster?
I know. That's okay. That's okay. So
do you want me to go get my Discovery starships?
No. That's quite all right. I just would like to know from you your initial reaction to this episode as soon as it premiered, like in that first few minutes.
Well, I was very emotional during this episode, like how they did the recap, and when they got to the end where the Enterprise shows up, I'm like, okay, I'm getting there again, guys. I'm getting there again. It's fine. Basically, Dave handed me a tissue before the show even started because he knows me so well. And so there were many times where I was just on the edge of my seat, and then there were the quieter moments where I was just studying everything. But overall, I felt breathlessly alive after seeing this episode, and I really enjoyed it after the first viewing.
You were on the edge.
I was.
Hey, that would be a great name for a show.
Right? The Edge.
So, Justin, going into this, how were you feeling? Were you anxious? Were you nervous?
Well, I was really excited, and I'm the kind of person that's like, show me all the trailers, tell me all the spoilers, because if you can do that and I'm still impressed by it, then it's amazing. So I had a lot of anticipation, but from what I'd seen in the trailers and what I'd read, I think I knew I was going to be in for something great. But I was also, pleasantly surprised. This is the longest Discovery episode we've ever had at a little over an hour. And I think they used that time really well. So that upped my anticipation. Like, wow, if they felt it was important enough to make this the longest episode, there's got to be I think a lot of great stuff in here. So that's how I came into it.
I have to say, as I was watching this, and I see Richard just said this in the chat, it's movie quality. It's exactly what I was thinking. I was watching this thinking, you know what? We got this news that we're not probably getting a Star Trek 4, at least anytime soon, in the Kelvin timeline. And I'm like, well, who cares? I feel like I'm getting a movie right now.
I know. And like a movie every week for 14 weeks is what it feels like. So, yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, I'll be interested if they keep that up. I'm expecting they probably will. I mean, maybe for the first episode they put a lot into it.
There were stories about it going way over budget, and I think you could probably tell. So it'll be interesting to compare and see how it is. I don't anticipate every episode will be an hour, but I think it was nice that they were willing to say hey, there's enough in here that we want to present it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. So Brandi, as soon as this episode started, and we heard it was going to be very cinematic, when you saw that black and white, not HD quality picture, because it was like an old movie.
It was meant to be like a old movie reel. Yeah.
Like a movie reel, like from Lost or something. Remember in Lost, they would watch the old movie reels?
Mm.
So
I watched half an episode of Lost and concluded that they were all dead. Because I used to work for an airline, and I know when plane crashes are not survivable. And that was not survivable.
Mm.
Sorry, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Lost. You don't need to watch it now.
It's been years, yeah.
Sorry.
So then we heard that Burnham saying space, the final frontier. Did you think she was going to go through the whole thing?
No, I did not.
No.
I mean, because they had already put out what the credits would look like, and it was basically the same, but with a few different visuals. So I didn't think it would keep going. But I did like the little narrative thing that she was doing at the beginning a lot.
I did as well, and I liked the footage, because basically they were time-lapse photos that were strung together to look like it was motion. And I would be willing to say that those probably really are the pictures from that probe. Yeah. So... that's like really early days of exploration, and I found it thrilling and heartwarming and exciting all at the same time.
Yeah, I was wondering if they were actual photos from the probe, and I'm going to assume they were, but
I'm thinking that they are.
If it's not specifically from that probe, it's definitely from a probe that has been to Saturn. I mean, that really looked like that. Yeah.
No, that was pretty cool. And you saw the rings of Saturn. I also wanted Voyager to kind of fly over the rings.
Oops, we time traveled back to 2004. Yep.
And Janeway's like, darn, I've done it again. So, and then I love the whole story about the African girl that reaches into the wooden ashes and creates the Milky Way. That was a nice little tale.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I loved it. I've never heard that story before, so I don't know if that is something that was invented for the show or if that is actual African lore, and I'm really curious about that now.
Yeah, I want to know too. I wonder if anybody in the chat knows, so if you do, let us know. What is the chat saying at this point? I keep seeing a lot of people saying they love the episode, and captured attention from start to finish.
Also, I can't put posters on the ceiling because I have that stupid popcorn crap on my ceiling, so I can't stick things to it.
What? You don't like the popcorn crap?
No, I don't like the popcorn crap.
Sorry, I just have to laugh at that because always when my wife watches HGTV, they're always removing the popcorn ceilings, and I was like, I remember as a kid going to like relatives' houses, and everybody's like, "Oh, you got popcorn ceiling? It's great."
There was a time when it was cool, but that is not now.
I wonder if they can do popcorn ceilings on the Discovery. Maybe it's back in the 23rd century.
I don't know. We've had no canon references in Star Trek, so we don't know if that exists. Such an important topic to find out about.
It is. This is the only show that you're going to find online that talks about popcorn ceilings on the Discovery.
Yeah. Tilt that camera up. Yeah.
That's what the big budget's for, people. I'm telling you. All right, so we have the Enterprise in distress. So, did you think we were going to see the bridge of the Enterprise on this episode?
Not on this episode, no.
No, I didn't think so either.
I didn't either, but dang, I was hoping they were going to shock me with that.
But it was a nice little cut that they did where Burnham was waiting at one set of doors and then waiting at Spock's. That was a nice way of doing it.
I loved that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was, I even said, ooh, nice edit.
Mm-hmm. It was very seamless. So that was a good way to do it. And I don't know if somewhere in the future they'll try to show the bridge or not. And I don't know if it's important. So.
Oh, it's important to me. But
okay.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Bruce says.
It's not, I mean, I would enjoy it, but I'm not going to be heartbroken if it doesn't happen because I don't think it's necessary. But, I'm not going to complain if they show it.
Yeah.
So I'm good either way.
It's not necessary, but I want it.
Yeah, but I do wonder about certain things because there was something dropped in the episode where Stamets said he knew someone on the Enterprise who is an ethnobotanist, which seems to be a reference to Sulu. And oftentimes on Discovery, they'll make references for things that you might see later. I'm not saying we'll see like Sulu on Discovery, but it just made me think like having that reference and maybe it was just a connection or maybe we'll see a little bit more at some point. I don't know.
If we do see Sulu, I hope they bring George Takei in to play Sulu. And they're like, wow, he looks old.
Is he in an episode of The Deadly Years? Well, it's not that bad, but...
Yeah, I feel like if it was a reference to something we're going to see later, groovy, I actually think that if you tease something like that, you better pay it off later. That's how I feel about it. It's like Chekhov's gun. You can't introduce a gun in the first act of a play and have it sitting on the mantelpiece and never used by the end of the show. So, yeah, that's what Chekhov's gun is, guys.
Yep.
Not Pavel Chekhov, the playwright.
Oh, there's only one Chekhov in my book, so
well, who knows? Maybe Pavel is related to Anton Chekhov.
I'm sure he would tell you he is.
Maybe.
I'm sure he would tell you.
Yeah.
And as Patrick says in the chat, oh my.
Yes.
I remember listening to Howard Stern's show when he first did the oh my, and it's like stuck ever since. I just think it's great. So Neo Star 9 says that they believe that the tale is real about the African girl creating the stars. Not exactly sure, but they're pretty sure. And then we have Becky in here saying about didn't make sense that the Enterprise was not allowed to fight in the Klingon War. They were on a 5-year mission. And Burnham said, you were too far away. It would take too long to get here. But didn't the war take like 10 months or something?
It did take a while, but I mean, there is going to be the John Jackson Miller novel, The Enterprise War, that'll tell us what they were doing. So we'll get more there. But yeah, it did seem like, well, maybe they're on their 5-year mission, but this is pretty important. Maybe they should be recalled, but maybe they were like way, way, way far out. I don't know.
That's how I took it, is that they were too far away distance-wise to even make a difference. So, I mean, they could have come back, but...
Yeah, but it's also one ship. I mean, it's a powerful ship, but does one ship make a difference against like a whole empire?
When it's the Enterprise.
When it's the Enterprise, it probably would, but yeah.
No, I'm with you. And it makes sense. And I am looking forward to that book by John Jackson Miller, which we will cover on Literary Treks here on the Trek FM network.
See, I set you up there.
Yes, thank you so much for doing that. So, and also, I'm reading the Tilly book that came out from Una McCormick of Discovery, The Way to the Stars. So it's a Tilly book, and it's so good. And that will be coming up with Literary Treks with the author.
And I finished that one recently, and it kind of informed how I saw Tilly in this episode.
You're going to have Una McCormick on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love Una McCormick so much.
She's great.
She is such an amazing guest.
Yeah,
I've never
she's
gotten
great.
to talk to her, but I've heard her on other shows, and
Sorry.
she's just,
I actually got to talk to her on Earl Grey, but she's
I know, that's
great
what I heard
guest.
her on, was Earl Grey. Wasn't that the episode where you were rewriting? Oh gosh, I can't remember the name of the episode, but it was
Shades
like
of
the
Grey.
bottle episode. Yeah, with the clip show. Yeah.
And we came up with something fun. Yeah.
That was fantastic.
I'm sorry, but Una McCormick has been on Literary Treks a few times, and you tell me, oh yeah, that's where I heard her was Earl Grey, the one
That
time.
was the first time I heard her.
First. Okay.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Una. I know
she's-
you're listening.
she's great.
We apologize for Brandi right now. No, just kidding. Hey, so one thing Richard mentions here in the chat at the end of the show, can we get the podcast info in the language of the elevator alien? You know,
You're talking about
Brandi,
the Saurian, Linus?
Linus, the alien on the elevator.
He's a Saurian.
I think he's asking for Brandi to read it, like the closing
Would
of
you
our podcast
do that?
as
No.
Linus.
There were no words. There were no words spoken.
Right, but so you would just say,
You just gesture and cough and sneeze.
No one wants to listen to
no.
that.
no. Hey, but speaking of the elevators, this is why one reason I wanted to read that is, did you
Yeah.
catch how you can see the elevator on the tracks?
I
through the
love
ship?
that. That was
We
awesome.
have never seen
Never
that
seen
before.
anything like that. I mean, like, and it was quite different than what you see, like, let's say on TNG, like when they're in the shaft, like in Disaster. Like, it seems like that works differently, like a regular elevator. This was like on a roller coaster track, and it was
Yes.
like, which makes sense because you're not just like going one direction; you're just kind of curving around and going sideways. And I was amazed by that.
I was too.
too.
I loved it.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it can work because of artificial gravity. It doesn't have to just go up and down or left and right. It can go
Yeah.
on a track like you said, like a roller coaster. It can definitely do that. So I thought that was great. No more of this, you know, Kirk holding on to Spock and McCoy on the other side, like in Star Trek V, and them just shooting up the shaft there. And,
Just straight up
right.
to deck 60 something at the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dave, in the chat, what do you mean Bester? Who's Bester? Did I miss something?
You've never seen Babylon 5, so you don't understand. But
Oh, yeah, I don't.
Walter Koenig played a fantastic character on Babylon 5
You know
called
what?
Bester.
I just actually started watching recently, and I saw that episode. It was so cool to see Walter Koenig. Yeah,
Oh, he is amazing
but
as Bester.
I'm just like 11 episodes in or something like that.
Oh, you've got so much fun to come.
I know, I'm pacing it out.
I know.
I'll have to
I love
watch
it when
that.
somebody starts watching Babylon 5 for the first time.
I keep planning to. I just haven't
Well,
got to it
you know,
yet.
like I planned on it a while back, but it was only more recently. I think it was available on Prime. Maybe it was a year ago, but I didn't find out till recently. But anyway, this is about Star Trek.
Yeah, sorry.
That's
We're
okay.
back
Well-
to Chekhov again.
We were talking about Walter Koenig. He's
Yeah.
part of Star
Right.
Trek. So
So, how many times have you watched this episode of Brother?
Twice.
2.5.
2.5. I watched it 3, but I didn't tell my wife that I watched it this afternoon when I should have been working. Oh, I'm sorry, Janice, my boss, if she's listening. I'm sorry. I couldn't help it. It was just 1 hour. It was my lunch break. So, so Geordie, was that Geordie LaForge running the transporter? There was a guy.
It was a
That
guy-
was weird.
Yeah, it was
What was that?
definitely like early visor or something. Especially like when they did a shot from the side, I'm like, they meant that to look like the visor. Okay, cool.
It does, yes, the visor, but then he's got little stuff on his head.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's part of it. Maybe this is such an old model
That you have to have all these things
Yeah, this was like an interface
instead
that
of
you
just the
had
two
to
little
actually.
things that he connects it to.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that makes
That's
sense.
what I thought.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, I have an external hard
Yeah.
drive here I could put on my head, and that's kind of
Right.
like what he's got,
But
probably.
I think the one we saw in Discovery looked a little less like a banana clip, but
yeah, exactly. No.
Well, yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
But that was cool.
So,
there was
it
all
was.
kinds of interesting tech, like the telescopic camera, which I thought was
Yes.
kind of like a neat little thing. Yeah, and the pods. So there was a lot of neat little things I didn't expect. So
yeah, the pods. What those were? I think I wrote them down here. I thought they said landing pods, and then I thought Burnham called it a lander pod. So
I don't know. I didn't catch the name, but something like that.
Yeah, but those were cool. That reminded me of Into Darkness when Kirk and Khan are going through the asteroids.
Oh, I definitely thought of like the Kelvin movies in that whole sequence, but I think that it was just so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, Brandy's not saying anything. She doesn't watch Into Darkness, I guess.
I have seen it twice.
Oh my gosh, I've seen it like twice times 15,000.
Yeah, well, it took me 4 times to get through it the first time. And then Dave and I decided to punish ourselves by doing a commentary for it for the Dark Corner podcast. And I thought Dave was going to die. He was just sort of given up by the end. He's just like, I can't do this. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore.
It's funny because Into Darkness is a movie I really enjoyed when it came out, but I've enjoyed a lot less like seeing it since then, as I've seen more Star Trek because it was more recent that I actually saw more Trek. So anyway.
Yeah, it's all good. I mean,
I enjoy it. It's fun.
I know a lot of people love it, and that's fine. And I actually really loved Benedict Cumberbatch's portrayal of Khan because he actually made the character sympathetic. And that is something I didn't think was possible, but the characterization was completely different, really. So, but he was my favorite thing about it, really. So, yeah.
Yes,
far too little of him.
I can see that. So, Chris has mentioned that it's good to know that Geordi isn't the only blind man in the future. I do want to say that there is a scene. I noticed it for when I was watching it the third time. There's a guy going through the corridors in a wheelchair.
Yeah, and I think it's the same guy who was in Magic to Make the Sanest Man Go Mad in the party scene when Tyler's making the speech. There's a guy in a wheelchair. I think it's the same guy. Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah. And I also noticed that Ariam is a different actress.
Yes. That was kind of interesting. Well, and also Sarah Matich, who played, hope I'm pronouncing that right, who played Ariam in the first season, was in a scene in the cargo bay with Ariam on one side, and she was on the other side as a human named Lieutenant Nilsson, is how she was credited. So the same actress is there, but it's a new actress, Hannah Cheesman, who's playing Ariam now. So interesting, right?
Yeah, I wonder why they did that.
But wasn't it credited as Ariam 2.0 or something? I saw somebody say that somewhere, but then I didn't have a chance to look at the credits. But I don't know if there's an explanation or what, but that was surprising.
It was.
Well, according to the IMDb listing,
just says Ariam. Yeah.
It just says Lieutenant Commander Ariam. I knew immediately that it was a different person because her face is not the same shape. Yeah. And so I just thought, And I wonder if it has something to do with the reaction to the makeup and the prosthetics. Yeah. I don't know. But
there's some story there. Because like I think that I saw her at Star Trek Las Vegas last year, and nothing.
I think I was with you when we talked to her.
And it didn't seem like there was anything different, but by that point they'd been through like at least half of the shooting, so she must have known. But
I think what happened is when we saw her in Las Vegas, I said to her, you know, you're too beautiful to be behind all that makeup. And she's like, you know what? You're right. I'm going to take that back to the producers. And so there you go.
Yeah. And I was there, and that's not what happened.
I'm sorry. I guess that's what happened in my mind. I don't know.
No, what really happened was I think you just said, "Oh, love you" as Ariam, and you think you talked about the mirror comic that Ariam's in.
I think so. Yeah.
That was a great comic. I loved how it ended.
Oh, yeah.
So what do you think of the uniforms? The Enterprise uniforms, the new uniforms.
I like it a lot. The only thing that bothers me is like the collar, but you know, that's kind of a holdover from the Discovery ones. And I get a little distracted because I'm looking at Anson Mount as Pike, and all I can see is like the black collar. For some reason, I fixate on it a bit, but I love it. Otherwise, I love the color and the design of it.
Well, did the others have collars? Because it seemed like Pike's uniform top was different.
Well, his has like a black collar, and on the Discovery ones, they're all blue collars, and the rest of the uniform.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But it is the same kind of asymmetric kind of collar.
But I meant from the other Enterprise uniforms.
Yeah, they had. They had black collars.
They had black. Well, but it was just kind of like a band around the shirt. It wasn't like a thick collar like this. It was different, right? In the original series.
Well, and his seemed to zip up the front, and theirs didn't. So
yeah.
I don't know. He just seemed like he had different ones, but then Kirk had different uniform tops in the original series.
We didn't get to see Pike in like a green wraparound. Why?
That's coming up later in the season, I'm sure.
I'm waiting for it. Let's see that green wraparound.
Yeah. The one that Pike relaxes on in his quarters. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I would say, before we got on live on the show, we were talking a little bit about Pike, and it sounds like we're all pretty excited about this character and the portrayal of this character. I would almost be willing to say for myself, I thought about today watching it, and I thought, you know what? If he was like on for the rest of the series, I have a feeling I might say he's my favorite captain of all captains. I really like this portrayal. I really like it a lot.
I like it. I mean, I was anticipating this because I already loved Pike even from the little that we saw of him before. So I was anticipating it. And I love what Anson Mount brings to it because it's like he says it, a big contrast to Lorca, but it's like he's trusting people and he's, trying to have a little fun with it and, make it like this kind of family environment. So I really like that. But you also saw that he has flaws sometimes, like when he was kind of shouting at Burnham for something and then kind of realizes what he's doing and not giving her a chance. So, but I really like that. And the opportunity to see him like through 14 episodes is just, I think, incredible because we saw so little of him before.
Yeah. Brandi, you liked him.
I'm in love with Pike, man. He's so good. Okay, so I actually knew of Anson Mount before this because he was Black Bolt in the very terrible Marvel Dead series, Inhumans. And I really liked him in that, even though he never spoke a word because his voice kills people. So, that's actually true in the comics. Anyway, So that's actually how I knew him. And so when I heard he'd been cast, I'm just like, perfect. You can't get any more perfect than this.
Yeah.
I am so happy that I'm going to see him actually talk and stuff. And I just, ooh.
Wait, you only want him on because you wanted to hear him talk?
No, I was impressed with his acting ability.
He's more than just a pretty voice,
Yeah, well, I know, but see, that's the thing, is that he could emote so much without saying a word that I wanted to see what he could do with words as well, but that's not why I was excited. But, okay, let me just tell you, one of my most favorite things about this episode is when he's got his hand on the pad to bring up, to verify his identity, and Tilly's gushing, and he's just sitting there with this adorable half smile on his face, just letting her go and enjoying every second of it, and then teases her when she moves his pinky, and she's like, oh, I thought I broke a captain. I'm just like, I love that scene so much. Just the look on his face, and I just thought, oh, you're perfect.
It was so great, and there were these nice comedic moments in there too. I know we're talking about Pike, but I've gone to a few comedic moments. I love when Saru's threat ganglia comes out and somebody looks at him on the bridge and he's like, really? Are you surprised? It's like, really? Awesome. Right. And then when I think when Burnham's in sickbay and she's saying something like she's a difficult patient, Dr. Pollard, just like as she's walking by, is like, yeah, she is. Something like that, just like these little things, which I think you've seen a lot of those moments in past Star Trek, but you didn't see as much of that in season 1. So I love that they're injecting that kind of feel that I love to see. Yeah. And
the only funny or jokey thing that they put in here is when Linus in the turbolift sneezes on Connolly. It just,
he was marking him for death.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it would have worked better for me if that character, Connolly, would have really been just a real jerk on the turbolift to the point that, Linus doesn't like it. But he never really said or did anything that would really set somebody off to want to sneeze on him and put their snot all over.
It happened by accident. It wasn't. He didn't mean to.
Yeah, well, he didn't apologize, Linus. You did not. You just stood there and
That's because.
Well, he's got a scratchy throat. Yeah. I have to say, since you mentioned Connolly, that's the one part of the episode where I was like, and they take advantage of the trope of the guy who won't listen to our hero and gets killed. So, yeah, that was just
well. It came across to me as toxic masculinity up until the point where they're in the pods and, Burnham says that his field is too wide and Pike says, she's right. And so I thought, okay, it's not just what she's saying because she's a woman. He's ignoring his commanding officer as well. Yeah. He just thinks he's God's gift and can do no wrong. And people like that drive me nuts. And so I was not at all sad when he got killed.
No, I wasn't sad either, but it was kind of like they introduced this guy who's there as the science officer and you don't really know much about him except he's a jerk. But, it's a minor thing, I think, overall. But
yeah, I think so too. It's just, he comes on with an attitude. I mean, the minute he beams aboard, you don't like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And kudos to the actor for making us, know before even he opens his mouth.
Well, even just his stance, the way he would stand was just, like his back was like arched back a lot. Like, I am so great. And then, I mean, you saw it coming, right? When he was in the landing pod or whatever, and he's like, oh, I know what I'm doing. It's like I told my room. I'm like, here it goes, here it comes, and boom.
But he got to mention occasion before he died, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, then he's an okay guy then. Okay.
Yeah. But you know what?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, it just goes to show there is no substitute for Spock as Enterprise Science Officer, right?
Agree. Because he may think a lot of himself and his knowledge, but he actually can back it up too. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't ignore people. I was actually thinking that Non was going to die as well, and so I was glad that she didn't. I was like,
I didn't think that she would. I know there's the trope of killing the red shirt, but I felt like they were making her likable enough that they were just going to keep it going. Whereas you hated this other guy, so it's like, oh, he's gone, whatever.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Well, and it makes me wonder what we saw Commander Jet Reno on the Hiawatha on the planet or on the asteroid. She's back on the ship now, and we didn't see her again after they
were
rescued.
Wonder if I hope she'll come back. She was fantastic.
That's what I was wondering, if this is a character we're going to see again or not.
I would think so. Although, there was this break in time between when they were at the asteroid and they were back at the Enterprise, and they could have dropped someone off or whatever. But I hope that she's still there. I mean, her ship is gone, so she has to be assigned somewhere or recover or whatever. So, but I hope so, because she was just great. And the whole build up where she's built all these tech and she's keeping all these people alive. It was just a nice introduction to who this person is.
Well, and now I think about it, I can see them using her character in an upcoming episode, because if Stamets is leaving and she's in engineering, she could be his replacement, and then he's having second thoughts about, leaving and wanting to stay.
That's possible. Yeah.
Yeah, well, nobody's getting off that ship until they're done with their mission.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming she's still on board somewhere. And I love Tig Notaro so much. I've been a fan for years. I love her stand-up.
Well, and so she talks in her stand-up, so you've heard her voice before.
Oh yeah, I have. And so I was so excited to hear that she was going to be on Discovery, and I thought, wait a minute, what? Tig Notaro? But hey, it works for me on all levels.
So I guess it's Choopy in the chat says that Tig tweeted she's in throughout the season. So,
yes!
Cool.
Yes.
That would be awesome.
Oh, that's a good point. Is her name in the opening credits? I didn't notice.
No, and I don't think she would be a regular, but maybe as a guest.
They were in the end credits. I do remember seeing
they're in the end credits. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah.
But that would be, that was really awesome. And I think it's such a great character that, thank goodness, she'll be there. So, nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think there was anyone that didn't like Jet Reno. So, way to go, Tig.
Mm-hmm. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah. And we have Dr. Colbert. He's still there. Well, at least part of the cast.
You mean Dr. Colbert?
A regular.
Colbert.
Regular, apparently, since he's in the opening credits. But so far not brought back to life, just some holographic message he recorded for Paul so far. But
well, there was that fortune. Nothing lost is ever truly gone.
Yeah. not every cage is a prison, not every loss eternal. I really like that. I think that's a really nice sentiment. And yeah, the last part seems to have something to do with Culber, and the first part has to do with Pike in the cage. But
yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
But I thought maybe I was making too obvious a connection.
I think that was the intention. We'll find out. Who knows? Maybe next episode he'll be stuck in a human zoo. No, probably not. Probably not.
Probably not. No.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Spock storyline and his relationship with Burnham and Sarek? And of course, we know they've always had a rocky relationship, especially the Burnham one.
You know what? I think one of my favorite parts of the entire episode was the first part where you're seeing Michael coming to the house on Vulcan and being introduced to this house, and you see, the young Spock there. I just thought there was something about that, like they got the atmosphere perfect, that the set design is like extraordinary, and it was just like really beautiful how they put it together with the music and all that. So I really liked the scenes where you got to see Michael there with Sarek and Amanda and Spock. There was just something about those scenes that was just beautiful, and I really like that. Although of course there's this mystery because Spock's so like frosty to Michael, but she says something to Sarek that there was a time when they were a little closer that he doesn't know about. So it's kind of tantalizing.
Yeah, she was saying something like there was a time where they not got along. She's in, I forget exactly how it was said, but
just a time. Okay, that's not a good Sarek, but
I just really hope that was like a reference to the first Discovery book. But I may be making connections where there are none.
It could be.
I thought about that, because they're on a mission together, Burnham and Spock, and of course Sarek's not there. If it was a reference to that and they get to talk about it, that would be awesome to bring that stuff forward into the show.
Agree.
Because that was great. Yeah, I do wonder. Maybe it is a reference. I mean, that would make sense.
Oh my gosh. Now I want to go back and read that book again. Just because we're talking about it.
Yeah.
I want to see how it fits in with all this. Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I like, Pike talking about Spock taking a leave of absence, and there's something he's always been searching for. He's always had this question that needs to be answered.
And some nightmares or something.
Yeah,
right?
and nightmares, and the nightmares came back. He learned to control the nightmares by drawing. That's what his mother told him to do. But now he can't get the nightmares to go away. And now we got the whole angel and the 7 signals, and it's all very mysterious.
It is. They're really building up a mystery. And like when it was mentioned that, Spock was drawing after these nightmares, then I thought back to the beginning when he is drawing this thing and then he, puts it whatever, however it gets projected. And it's like this beast. I didn't know quite what to make of that.
Yeah. I just realized I lied to my wife because she watched it tonight for the first time and she said about Spock. And I said, yeah, but Spock's not in this episode, just so you know. But now I think about it, he was the little boy Spock.
Yeah.
Well, and the little boy Spock. So the character Spock.
Yeah, that's right. Character Spock is there. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yet another Spock.
Yeah, I did not like his hair. It looked like a helmet too much to me.
Well, kids have really giant heads. I mean, kids have disproportionately large heads because, their bodies have to catch up to their heads.
I guess that's it.
That didn't bother me.
Didn't bother me either.
I just have this thing for hair. I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Oh, Neostar says, really enjoyed the Michael and Amanda relationship. Yeah, I really did too. It's nice to see Amanda being a caring mother, not just to Spock, but now to Burnham, having this human child there, where she's been raising this Vulcan half-human child, and now she's got Burnham there.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's a really beautiful relationship, and I really was just moved when, Michael is there, and then Amanda says, I bless you all my life. And I was like, oh, you're going to make me cry. But there is something really beautiful about that relationship that I think when Discovery first started that I didn't expect.
Yeah.
I agree. I love the Amanda and Michael relationship. And the feeling that I got from the flashbacks when Spock would be staring at them from a distance is I felt like he wanted that same relationship with Amanda, but he wasn't allowed to have it because of his father.
You don't think he was seeing Red Angel visions in that moment?
Not necessarily, no. I think that there was some jealousy there. And, of course, that would be an unwanted emotion. So, and he would never admit to it, even as a child, that he had a feeling.
Yes. I almost wish there was a line in the original series where McCoy is teasing Spock with angel food cake.
Yeah, it happened in a scene that we didn't see.
Yeah, one of those deleted scenes.
Yeah. Hey, Spock, I was going to get you an angel food cake for your birthday. Anyway, I'm just going back. Have you guys read some of these things here in the chat? People are talking away.
I have. So one thing I thought was interesting was Chris Menning said, Angel is definitely an Iconian. What do you think about that?
Oh, wow. I hadn't thought about that.
I don't know. Like for the Iconians, I know they appear in a couple of episodes, but there's also a whole series of the Gateways novels, which I haven't read. I don't know if you've read those.
Yes.
Bruce. Yeah.
Yep. Yes,
So
I have.
I feel like I don't know much about them. I don't know. Like I feel like this Red Angel is something that is new. That's not a tie-in to something we've seen before.
That's what I'm thinking too. This is an entirely new thing. Although I don't know if this angel is an actual alien or entity or just some kind of
I think
vision.
there's like different ways they could go with it. I actually was trying to puzzle out like where are they going with this, and I actually don't know. Brandi, you're usually good with these things. Maybe you know. No? Okay.
I'm really not sure.
Okay.
I'm really not sure. And I was beginning to wonder if it was something that Spock just anthropomorphized from, what he was seeing into
But
an
Burnham
angel-like
sees it
figure.
in this first
Exactly.
episode, yeah.
And that's when I thought, okay, obviously he's not he's not doing that thing.
Yeah.
Obviously this is what he's seeing. And I don't, and it's not the thing. It's not a thing where Burnham has that knowledge yet. So what she's seeing is, without bias.
Right.
And, it was, her facial expression was brilliant. Just like, am I going to die? What is this? What's going on? What am I seeing? And that the emotional part of her going, what? And the rest of her going, trying to analyze. It was just.
And that moment, like I wish I could remember it exactly, but there was like this theme in the music when this Red Angel comes up, and I wonder if we'll hear that like when it comes. There was just something really like haunting about how they portrayed that, Yeah. I don't know where it's going, but I'm very, very intrigued.
Yeah. Well, and Chris just said the 7 signals will be Iconian gateways for sure. Mark my words. So
we're marking your words, and sometime in the season we'll be able to tell if it's true or not.
Oh, Richard says species 8472, something similar to that. Oh, a dark entity of some kind. Well, yeah, because, Tilly's also now experimenting with dark matter. So somewhere dark matter is related to this entity of some type.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. And apparently it wants to destroy all sentient life in the galaxy, according to coming up on this season of Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah.
So...
Well, that's lower stakes than last season where it was destroy all life in all universes. So, no big deal. Just the galaxy, right?
Yeah, just the galaxy. Just everything that's, intelligent, or I shouldn't say intelligent, sapient is the word that I'm looking for.
Yeah. So we'll see where that goes.
I'm looking forward to it. I really am.
Me too. Yeah.
Me too.
So one thing that I wanted to mention was we did get to see a little bit more of the bridge crew. I love that Pike did this little roll call like, all right, everyone, just, go around. Don't give your ranks. Did you notice Ariam still gave her rank?
Yep. Lieutenant Commander. Yep.
Everybody else was like, oh, this is my name. Just Saru. But no, there was just something that was really great, like, because I think we obsess over these things and we look at the credits and all that, but, someone watching it casually might not even know the names of some of and it was just kind of emphasizing, like, these people are important, here's who they are, so that was great.
Well, have they had their names, any of those crew members' names been mentioned before?
Absolutely. They have been mentioned, but it's like a little thing, like, Bryce, tell me this, or Reese, tell me that, but it's not like, let's take a moment, a quiet moment to focus and give me your name. It's been more like everything's going crazy and someone's just giving a name, you know?
Yeah.
It was more focused.
I know their names because I've, read them, in the books and comics and stuff. But,
exactly. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love that, and I love how quickly he picked them up. He only had to hear them once, and he knew who everybody was. Yeah. And I love it when he's issuing all the commands, and he says, Detmer, fly good.
I love that about seeing Pike, because he wasn't just like, menacing or formal. And when they arrive at the asteroid, he's like, where's my damn red thing? There's just something. I
expected a red thing.
Really just charming about that, because he just seems like a regular person, Yeah.
He's very approachable. And he even says that he wants his ready room to be a place where people can, an officer can come in, pull up a chair and speak freely.
And did you notice while he was talking to Burnham, he had the door to the ready room open, which is something Lorca never did. So it was more just like openness, right? Anything that's said in here is not going to be secret. And that was really nice. Yeah.
See, this is why I think he could be my favorite captain. Could be. We'll have to see how the season plays out. But no, I love all the captains for various reasons, but I think his style is the style of captain that if I were an officer, I'd want to report to. I'm not saying he's my favorite captain of all the series, but if I had to report to a captain, I think I'd like him. I want him to be my boss.
I think
he'd be a great boss.
It would be great. Yeah. Yeah. I'll have to think about that, Bruce, and see where I come down on it. I hadn't really thought about it. I just like the character, but see where
I love Picard, but if I reported to him, he'd scare me like crap.
And I like Cisco also, but he would scare me even more. So, yeah. And I think
Janeway would always be pushing coffee on me, and I don't drink that much.
Yeah, I don't either, so.
Me either. Occasionally. Yeah. Maybe. Sometimes.
So maybe Pike hits that good spot.
He hits a good spot for me. And I'm not saying that in a dirty way, okay?
I was not thinking that.
And I appreciate that. But there are going to be some people out there. Bruce is always going to sink to the lowest of the low. So I had to qualify. But no, I really just, he was magic to me. Just absolute magic. Yeah. Perfect characterization. I couldn't get enough. And I think it was during that scene when he's, being scanned for his DNA to confirm his identity that I just blurted out, "I'm so in love."
That's great. You actually said that to the screen. That's wonderful.
I said that to the screen and to Dave. I wasn't looking at Dave.
And he was like,
No, he's used to this. Come on.
Well, I did notice a comment in the chat from Dave before saying he misses Lorca's acerbic humor. It was a while back, but so you may feel differently.
Yeah, Lorca was definitely an interesting captain for a character.
He was, but it was, even before you knew he was from the Mirror Universe, I always felt like tense watching him.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas with Pike, I feel relaxed, like, oh, this is nice. So it's a different feeling. I think overall, that contributes to a different feeling of the episode and probably the season, that it's kind of lighter and more like, let's do this together instead of like, let me guard against the guy who might kill me,
I think of all the captains, Pike reminds me more of Archer.
Agree. I was going to say the same thing.
I could definitely see that. Yeah,
because I would love Archer as the boss. I would. I feel the same way about him.
He has the same kind of like laid back, but can have a good time. Yeah, I can see that.
He's approachable. You can talk to him.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What else do we have? Anything else? There's so much.
Oh, there is one thing I wanted to mention that I noticed while I was watching this. A really cool Easter egg. I don't know how many people have...
Oh, yeah, you told us before the show you were going to mention this, but you didn't tell us what it was. Yeah.
So in the scene where Pike is in front of the view screen and his Starfleet record is there, and he says, I got an F in astrophysics and whatever. He stands there and he talks to people, and I was paying attention to what he was saying the first time, but the second time, I just noticed what was scrolling by, because there were, I don't know if you noticed, but there were a couple of screens scrolling by, and it had like awards and commendations. One of them was the Okuda Award.
Oh, really?
Isn't that awesome?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. So that was just like a nice little Easter egg that like you would totally miss, because it's like kind of small, like as it's kind of scrolling by, but But yeah, look for that next time.
Oh,
Yes.
I'm so going back and watching that scene a fourth time.
Little tribute.
Tribute to Mike and Denise Okuda.
And Mike and Denise Okuda, yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, maybe Pike had some really good set design skills at some point. I don't know.
Yeah, and if anybody who's listening, they don't know. Yeah, especially Mike Okuda was responsible for the set designs on like TNG and so
even
forth,
like
and some of the
back
movies.
to Star Trek 4 and all the way forward to Enterprise for like many years, and also the Okudograms that, the displays like in the TNG era.
Yeah.
Very influential. So it was a nice little tribute.
Yes. Yeah, and the two of them have been on Literary Treks twice.
They have.
See, I keep plugging that show for some reason.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I actually saw the premiere Discovery with the Okudas. So
Oh, shut up about that, okay?
Oh my God. Bruce, like, okay. It was a pretty amazing story that we never recorded for whatever reason, but listeners
it's
probably
a
don't know
secret.
because it was secret. Bruce told like this amazing 25-minute story of how he used, I don't know, luck, charm to get into the season 1 Discovery premiere and like near the front row or something like that.
I was in the front row in the center, but here's the thing. I used the Force to get in there.
No. Oh, you are killing us.
Yeah. So
Actually, not me. It's okay. You
I
can
did-
love Star Wars and Star Trek. It's fine.
I didn't sit with the Okudas. When we walked in the auditorium, the ushers looked at their tickets and said, "Oh, you're up there," and points to the back of the room. And he looks at my ticket and goes, "Oh, sir, you're down the front." I was like, "Oh, well, I didn't design anything."
Didn't you have a better seat than like people who have been in Star Trek, like on
Yeah.
screen?
Yeah, Scott Mance from Access Hollywood runs down and he goes, "How did you get this seat? You got the best." He's yelling it through the whole auditorium, making a big scene about it. So,
Well, I'm glad we now have a little bit of a recording, but man, you sure told a long story to Dan and I one time. Yeah.
yes. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing. So, anything else? Wait, what's the chat say? Oh, about the door swoosh on the
Yes.
Enterprise in Spock's
Yeah.
quarters. I like that too. Yeah.
Yes. I also love the sound of the red alert, the klaxon, plus there's also the sound from TNG, the alarm sound.
Oh.
They're like tag teaming it on the bridge.
Yeah, and I think even like in maybe it was the first or second episode of season 1, there was something where Burnham was like in the spacesuit and like was contacting them, and it was kind of like the TNG comm badge chirp, which was nice. Yeah, I've really liked the sound design that they have.
Yes.
So Neo Star 9 has a question for us. Are you ready for the question?
Ready?
How much credit does Lorca get for getting the crew to work well together? Because he was really pushing them to be more efficient. We kind of see the results of that here.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I think Lorca gets some of the credit, but Saru gets some of the credit as well for what he did to kind of bring them together in the last couple episodes after Lorca was gone. So I think it's maybe both of them.
And I think Tilly also had a lot to do with it.
Mhm.
Because without Tilly, they would have never made it back from the Mirror Universe.
Well, that's true. You can't work well as a crew if you're dead.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
But that's the thing. She works well with everybody because, like Stamets said in this premiere episode, everything she does comes from a place of love.
Yes.
And that's why she's going to make a great captain. And she's already a great officer.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, one thing I did want to talk about. I thought it was really cool that Pike, says, "I'm here as the captain for this mission," but as soon as it's not something related to the mission, he's like, "Mr. Saru, this is yours." And that they've come to some agreement by the end of the episode that they're going to kind of share command, which we haven't really seen anything quite like that before. I thought that was a really cool idea, and it also recognizes all of Saru's skills and how much he knows the crew and the ship and all of that. So that was great. I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Again, I love this captain.
Yeah, I do too. I couldn't have asked for a better characterization for a character that we just didn't have enough of in the original series.
Well, and this is good too, because I don't know and I don't even know if the writers and the producers have a plan for what happens after the season to the captain's chair, who's going to fill that. But if they're sharing it between Saru and Pike, if they're sharing the seat in a sense, it's really preparing Saru to be captain, and we get used to that.
That would make sense, although they still haven't told us who they were supposed to pick up on Vulcan.
Right.
And whether that would still be in force at the end of the season or whatever. But
do you think we'll ever find out? I hope so.
I hope not. I don't want to ever know. I just want the season to come to its natural conclusion, and then they decide, okay, Saru, you're captain. You've been exemplary under pressure and during this mission, yada yada. You're captain.
I think
take the Discovery. Great. I would love that. And I don't care who this other captain is.
I don't know. It would be kind of cool if they did like a little Easter egg, like, well, even if they don't get the captain, they just say, well, I guess we never had to go pick up Captain Decker. They've shipped him off to somewhere else, or what,
Wouldn't he be Commodore, or is that too early for him to have been Commodore?
I think he might have been maybe still a captain. Oh, I mean, it's not really established, I think, on screen, but he's in some of the novels. Not sure, but yeah. I don't know, but like on Vulcan is like pretty specific, so that makes me think like it's someone who is Vulcan or working at like the Vulcan Science Academy or whatever. So I don't know.
Cybok. That's what it's. Spock's other brother.
Captain Cybok. Oh,
well, there is a human embassy on Vulcan, so it's not like there's not humans there.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, except it got bombed to crap in season 4 of Enterprise, but
they rebuilt it.
Oh, I like what Chris says in here. What if it was Robert April? That would be so cool.
In his woolly sweater.
Coming
his woolly
back
cardigan.
For a second tour.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, except he's supposed to be captain of the Enterprise.
Well, he was, but he's not anymore. Yeah.
That's okay. Yeah, that's fair.
But he was up until like 2250 or something like that. I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
There we go.
Taking that from the novels, but
exactly.
But so that would be funny.
So he comes out of retirement, much to his wife's chagrin, gets out that woolly cardigan.
There you go.
I can picture him so clearly with that cardigan on.
He comes out of retirement, puts the gibber on the side that he's having on the beach, puts the cardigan on, and gets on the Discovery. That would be awesome. Hey, that just reminded me, though, the one scene that kind of bothered me a little. I shouldn't say it's a scene, just this line or whatever, where Saru and Burnham are talking about, she's saying that she hasn't talked to Spock in a while, and then she asks Saru, do you have any siblings? I thought that was interesting because they have served together for such a long time. I know they don't necessarily have the best of relationships, but I just kind of felt like, really? They've served that long and she doesn't know? I know. Wait, hold on. I know that Spock doesn't tell everybody about his personal life.
Yeah.
But in a lot of ways, I've just kind of thought she would know that Saru had family.
Well, but like, think of it this way. Like, there have been times where I've worked at a company for years and years and no one knows whether I have any siblings or not because it doesn't come up and it's not relevant. Right?
Well, that's true. So, Justin, I've known you for years. I couldn't even tell you if you have siblings right now.
Right, because I haven't told you yet.
Thank you, Spock.
but like, no, I think it's possible, like, especially since we know from the short trek that there's this really painful separation that happened. Why would he want to bring it up unless someone asked him?
True.
I think that works. That works okay for me. Like, I think one of the things I saw was bothering some people is when like Sarek and Michael are talking and Michael asks, how long has it been since you've seen Spock? And Sarek says, years, and is not precise about it.
Right.
But the way that I think about it is that like it's just them together. And I think even in that scene, you'll see Sarek has like a hint of a smile when he's talking about Amanda or whatever. But I think he is more relaxed around his family, especially his family that is human, who probably doesn't want to hear him say precisely how long it is. So I'm okay with that. I think that Sarek can be like different among different people, especially if it's his family versus the outside world. So.
I like that explanation because you're right. With him being married to a human and he has a foster child that's human, and Spock is trying so much to be Vulcan that he's not trying to necessarily appease humans. Yeah. He's trying to show humans that he's Vulcan, where Sarek knows, oh, well, this is my daughter. I don't need to be that way with her.
Right. and it reminds me, I mean, of course, it's not canon, but it reminds me of when we read the novel Sarek for Literary Treks, because you see Sarek have more emotion in that when he's with his family, right?
That's true.
Because, and it kind of makes sense. Like, he's married someone who is human, and he's had to adjust to that, and it's probably affected him. So it works fine for me. And I've, like, a lot of times I've seen Sarek as the one who would be more likely around someone he's familiar with to kind of let his guard down a bit. But
I agree. And after the events of season 1, especially with his near death and Michael saving his life and finding out what really happened with the Vulcan Science Academy, I think that actually brought them closer. Even though it didn't seem like in the direct aftermath of it, I think that it brought them closer. Yeah. And he is definitely, after everything that happened in season 1, he's definitely more comfortable and casual with Michael than I think he had been before.
Yeah. I mean, and I think especially when it's in this setting, it's like just the two of them, nobody else is there. If it was on the bridge, I think he would be more formal because he has to have this, like, people see him as, you know, kind of the ultimate Vulcan and this ambassador for a long time. So I think when it's for other people, but he does allow himself to be vulnerable. I think in those moments with people he's relaxed around, because I would think because Vulcans have like all of these like emotions that they have to kind of keep in check, it's must be tiring to do that all the time, right? And like if you can let go a little bit around people you're familiar with or you're comfortable with, maybe that's, you know, you do that. Right?
I will say though, and I mean, I love all this and I hope that was the intent, but in reality, I think they don't want to say the precise years because then they're putting themselves in a corner if they get anything wrong with the fans. Like,
well, I mean, the only way they would put themselves in a corner is that we don't actually precisely know the year. It's probably late 2257, but maybe it's early 2258. Right. And if they have to pin down the time later and it doesn't add up to 18 years before, you know, Journey to Babel or whatever. Right. But yeah, maybe that's part of it. But it, to me, it seemed very intentional because he has this pause and he's like, it's been years, you know, like he has to think about it. Like Michael doesn't want to hear precisely how many years. Just needs to know it's a long time, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, because it would have been odd if he would, in that intimate type of conversation and moment, to say, yeah, well, it has been like 10 years, 8 months, 2 days, and 4 hours, and 3 minutes, and
27 seconds or something, right? That would like totally
47 seconds.
That would kill the vibe of the conversation that they're having, right?
Right, exactly. Anyway. Yes, I agree. So I just want to ask the chat because we're at an hour, so we want to wrap things up here. But if you could let us know 5 out of 5 stars, with 5 being the best and 1 being crappy, where would you put this episode? And as we wait for them to put those in, some of the comments here, like Richard says, did you guys notice Saru's strut, his hands?
I did.
Walking down the corridors.
He's always done that.
The George Jefferson.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the Jeffersons? George would do that.
Yeah. He's always done that, but I think there was something about the camera angle that made it more pronounced or something.
It did seem more pronounced.
Yeah, it did. Ways. It seemed exactly the same to me as it had every other time I'd seen it. It was the same in The Brightest Star. It was basically we don't see him walking full view a lot of the time.
That's true.
Because there have been times, like the first time we see him walking down the corridor of Discovery, after Michael's been let out of taken out of the brig, and he's got a bowl of blueberries in his hands. Right. So, we don't always see him walking in full view, but
that's true.
Well, now I figured it out. When he has a bowl of blueberries, nothing like that's happening. After he eats the blueberries, he gets gas and he walks down the hall like that.
Oh, jeez.
No.
Kind of wave the scent away.
Don't give out my secrets, Bruce.
He just had gas all the time in The Brightest Star. Fine. Whatever.
Hey, Brandi said it, not me. He had gas the entire time in The Brightest Star.
No,
Hey, we got some star ratings here. So there's 5 out of 5, 5, 4, 5, 5, 4.5, 3.5. So these are all favoring pretty high.
Yeah, and I've seen pretty positive feedback out there. So
and 5 blueberries. Thank you, Chris.
5 blueberries.
Yep.
Hey, let me go to Chris Menning here, who gave 3.5 stars. He says he liked it, but kind of misses a lot of season 1's vibe. I kind of like more the vibe of this than season 1.
That's interesting because I like both. I mean, I loved season 1 and the vibe of it, but I love the vibe here. And I don't think there's any reason why in the same show you can't have a different vibe per season. Because I think it's been like that a lot of times in Star Trek shows before. Like, season 1 and 2 of TNG is like this. 3 and through 5 or whatever is like this. So I like the vibe of both of them. I know they're going for something different. It's a lighter tone this season, but I love both. I don't know. I just love seeing the characters and what they're doing, that I'm along for it, like kind of wherever they take it. Yeah.
I am totally in the same boat with you, Justin. I don't feel like it has to be the same every single season. I like the variety. I like telling different stories. And I think that there's a lighter feel to it right now, but I think that there's plenty of drama to come.
Oh, sure.
And plenty of, I'm going to be biting my nails and rocking back and forth while I'm watching. There's going to be a lot of that.
Yep. Yep. No, I love the idea of having different vibes, but I will say I like this vibe a little better. Doesn't mean I don't like the other vibe. I just like to swing my arms both ways.
Okay.
Right.
So maybe we should close this out unless there's really anything else you guys are just dying or something just came up that you want to talk about.
Do you have a time machine so I can see next week's episode?
I actually have next week's episode sitting right here if you want to. No, actually I don't. We don't even know the title though.
We don't yet.
Which is really odd.
Which is really interesting because last year I think they did the first 4 and then they did them in chunks. It almost makes me think that some of the titles are going to give away what they're about, in some way.
Yes.
Or that you wouldn't understand what the episode 2 title means without episode 1, but they're definitely like portioning it out more. Although there was a title that was put up for episode 8 if you go to IMDb. I don't know if it's the accurate one, but somebody was putting some information about episode 8.
Yeah, I saw one out there that was for a later episode.
Yeah, it was for episode 8. It says if memory serves, but who knows if that's the right one.
Right.
But
it's hard to say. Yeah, that's the only one that is still, as of now, that's the only one that's on there.
That's the only one, but I don't know. I like to just watch these things closely, but they put like some of the writers and actors for that one. Somebody was in there putting information about like that one episode for whatever reason. But anyway, I'm sure, it's next Thursday, so they got to tell us by Thursday. I wonder if they'll make it a weekly thing, like on a Monday or Tuesday before they'll reveal a title. Who knows?
I don't know.
To generate additional interest or additional piece of news? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when, but they have to give those titles to the metadata companies to put in guides. Yeah. So it's going to have to come out really soon.
And in Canada, it has to actually, it's airing on Canadian cable. So they need to tell them what it's going to be somewhat in advance. And I think some titles leaked like that last time. So
yeah, I think we'll probably know something Monday.
That's
I'm
fair.
Guessing.
Maybe.
Where I'm going to guess. Monday, Tuesday, something like that.
Yeah.
All right. So, Brandi, do you want to do our closing as Linus or as yourself or something else?
I'm going to try to do it
as
like Jet
Captain
Reno.
Pike. Oh, okay.
Jet Reno. Okay. Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try. Be sure to check out our Discovery coverage throughout the week. Live from the Edge airs on Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Our commentary will be available as Tracks from the Edge. We'll discuss your feedback on Postcards from the Edge. You can catch the full analysis on the Edge main show. And join us for Notes from the Edge with our own Chris Jones for links between Discovery and the broader franchise. You'll find all these in the main feed for the Edge and in the Trek.fm master feed. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Discovery. The best place to do that is the Babel Conference. It's our listeners group on Facebook, where Amy Nelson will collect your feedback for Postcards from the Edge. You can also find us on Twitter at TrekFM or send us email using the contact form on our website at trek.fm/contact. Choose to send to a show, choose the Edge. We'd also like to thank our associate producers, Norman C. Lau, Tony Robinson, Thomas Paleo, Lisa Slack, Shoaib Mirza, Richard Rutledge, James Muldrow, Cornelia Reutner, Ryan Malett, Chris Tabuzio, and Brian Malash. So if you'd like to help us keep all these shows going and become an associate producer, hey, visit patreon.com/TrekFM for all the details.
Hey, this is really exciting to me because I just realized we have as many associate producers as Discovery has executive producers.
Ooh.
All right, let's make a Star Trek show.
Woo, let's do it.
Yes, thank you all who are associate producers and everyone else who donates to Trek FM through or pledges through Patreon. So we do appreciate that. So one real quick thing here. So Chris in the chat says, who's one of our patrons, who are associate producers, says that the New York premiere that they had showed 2 episodes. So that second episode's been seen and the title is known out there.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but they signed some secret confidentiality agreement. They can't even tell us the title.
Yeah, they call it a non-disclosure agreement. It's a standard thing in the entertainment industry.
Oh, yes.
Just NDA for short.
So,
sorry, I'll shut up.
No, that's okay. It's good that we're shutting up because I was going to do a Katharine Hepburn impersonation. So, Justin, where can people find you?
Well, you can find me elsewhere on the network as a co-host of Earl Grey. That's our weekly Next Generation podcast. Amy Nelson, Richard Marquez, and I have a great time talking about TNG every week. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at TrekFan4747, where I tweet about nothing but Star Trek. I tweet about lots of Discovery stuff, lots of overall Star Trek stuff, and tweeting out my Season 7 rewatch of The Next Generation. And you can find me hanging around the Babel Conference on Facebook.
Yes. Brandi, what about you? Where can we find you?
Nowhere. After the show is over, I disappear back into the ether until I'm needed again. I'm just kidding. You can find me lurking in the Babel Conference. I'm also on the Trek FM network on the show Warp 5 about Star Trek Enterprise with my friend Patrick Devlin and sometimes with Brandon Shea Motella. He's going through some stuff, and so he's not on as regularly as he would like to be anymore. You can also hear me on the Dark Corner podcast with my husband Dave, where we talk about stuff and things. And we look at things from sort of a darker perspective, if you know what I mean. There are swears. Please don't let children listen.
Dark matter.
Dark matter swears.
Hey, so Neo Star 9, I'm glad you brought up this question because I was actually going to talk about this. The question is live. So Live from the Edge is going to Fridays now and not right after the episode. Yes. So when we did season 1, the episodes of Discovery premiered on Sunday nights and we did the live show the next night on Monday nights. When we got to short treks on Thursdays, we decided because they were so short, we would just jump on shortly afterwards and do it the night of. But because these are longer episodes and with time zones and stuff and different countries, and I know even some people don't even get to see it by the time we go live, but for season 2 we're going back to the night after, so the episodes premiere Thursdays and then Friday nights at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific we do Live from the Edge. So we're going to keep up with the Fridays for now. Can I ask you a question about that, Bruce? Yes, you may. So they're going to have Facebook Live events on Fridays that I guess CBS All Access is going to do. Hope it's not at the same time. Oh, I didn't know that. So we'll adjust if we need to. Okay. We'll say that. I don't know. Either that. Just curious. I saw that and I was like, but Friday is Live from the Edge night. We were here first. Hey, you know what? Or we'll just read their chat while we're doing the live show. Oh. That could be a lot of fun. Yeah. This is your new After Trek, people. This is it right here. Yep, absolutely. But Bruce, you haven't told us where we can find you. Well, you can find me here on the network doing Literary Treks. I don't know if I mentioned that show. I know Justin did at one point. Never heard of it. You can also find me on the Star Wars Report, talking about Star Wars. That's that podcast out there. And that's about it. And I'm on Twitter at Admiral_Rex. And hey, you can even send me an email. I've been starting to mention this now. I'm at Bruce. Has anybody sent you an email from that yet? No, but I'm at Bruce. Sorry. I'm waiting for one to come in. Bruce.Gibson@trek.fm. You can send me an email there. Let's see who the first. I've gotten like some, like the authors email me. I guess they like me better than the listeners. So make Bruce happy. Send him an email, listeners. Oh, wait, we have a question. Cedric said, what is Literary Trek? So let me take the next 5 minutes and just tell you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to send you an email that just says first. Oh, God. Sorry, I'm not going to do that. Well, this is live. I should be checking my inbox right now because something could just pop in any minute now. Yeah. Oh, and thank you, Richard, for saying love the Star Wars report. Excellent.
Do you want to say what Literary Treks is briefly?
It's we cover the Star Trek books and comics. So we have the authors on, or we talk about old books, and Justin comes on, and Brandi comes on occasionally.
Yeah, it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. It's the other Treks that are going on. There's always Trek stories out there. So anyway, that's it. I mean, we got another episode next week. Less than a week.
I know. 6 days from now, we'll be watching it, or may have already finished it.
Yay!
Yeah, and you notice the teaser wasn't about the episode; it was about the season. So I don't even know what this next episode is about.
Yeah, and it's interesting because from the trailers that we've seen and what they had at the end of the first episode, I can't tell what of that is in the second episode and what's later. So
big surprise.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that the scene where Saru says, "We'll figure it out," is what we do. I think that's gonna be in episode 2. Before crap hits the fan.
That'll be the title. We'll figure it out. It's what we do.
Sure. Let's go with that.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next week, or you'll hear us next week, or you can watch us live next week, whatever you want to do. So, live long and prosper.
And keep calm and disco on.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye. It's been fun.